investor buyers, now might be the time to get back into this Phoenix market. So if you've been waiting on the sidelines, like a lot of our clients have been for the last couple or even few years, to see what's been going on with the Phoenix market and how that's going to change, now might be the time to really get back into it. There's a couple factors that are pushing more people towards getting closer to making that decision, or starting to make those purchases. The first thing that we're seeing is that the balanced market that we've been seeing, like if you look at the numbers overall for Phoenix, it looks pretty balanced. Some areas are still sellers markets. Some areas lean more towards the buyers side. But again, overall, relatively balanced. What you find in those buyer areas is that there can be some deals. There are opportunities. And if you think about, the summertime is generally when the areas where there's a slight buyer advantage right now can be the areas that tend to be moving quicker, or should be in the summertime. So this should be busier, which means that as we get closer to the end of the year, as the year continues to move from here, if we're supposed to be in our busy season for some of those areas, it's only going to slow. The houses that are going to be on the market are generally those then that need to sell, or that there's a reason for them selling. If they're needing a little bit of work, if they're you might be able to find those better than average deals. Getting discounts on those is, of course, what you'll want to do when you're looking to buy into that market. But think, if the market drops by 5%, which would be a lot, if you get a 10% discount on the property, then you're still beating the market. In addition, if the interest rates, like right now, we're at this space where we're not sure what's going on with the interest rates, right? Which is the second thing that we were looking at. Interest rates right now, this last week, we're like, oh shoot, they're going up again. All right. So if interest rates go up, then it keeps these buyers and yourself who are on the sidelines, it tightens it up even more. So the market continues to swell. So inventory continues to swell. Right. So as that inventory continues to swell, as soon as you start seeing just the slightest little hint of the market, the rates dropping, then you see people start coming out of the woodwork, because they're like, oh shoot, I got to get ahead of this market that would potentially become a frenzy if rates drop like crazy, like they did last time. So I think there's that logic behind it as well. As soon as rates start going up, we see the market swelling, we see inventory swelling, and then as soon as there's a little bit of a tick in the market, just a hint of rates going down, buyers are back at it, and all of a sudden it's competition, and there's more to more people to run into when you're out at those properties. The other thing, looking at the numbers right now, the rental market last year was was kind of lackluster. We're seeing a lot of tenants staying. We have more, I'd say, we have less properties on the market for lease right now than we generally do at this time during the summer. Why? Because more people are renewing, more people are opting to stay. I think there's less money in people's pockets. The ability to move from one location to another costs money, right? And I think that's something that people are looking at this year. I think last year, the number between the person who was renting 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and what they were able to find last year, which was maybe 10% lower on the rental side, that's a big enough jump to make that move. This year, maybe not the same. Again, that's speculation, but at the same time, it makes sense. And I would expect that that's probably why our vacancies are less, our renewals are higher, and people want to stay where they're at. They want to stay put. That bodes well for investors. So I think that's also something to be looking at and gearing up. We are seeing more out-of-state investors continuing to look, not necessarily pulling the trigger, but starting to have those conversations again, as we do every year. This year just seems a little bit different because it looks like people are really expecting that we've hit this threshold, that there's positive momentum coming. And as that happens, it's getting ahead of it instead of following the trend and doing what everybody else is doing. So this big drop off that we thought was going to be happening, or that some people thought was going to happen based on interest rates increasing and inventory going up, it really didn't happen. Again, there are certain areas that are really good deals. Like, you can find some really good deals. You just have to know what to look for. The thing I will advise is, again, I've mentioned this in other videos. A lot of the stuff that we were buying was, Phoenix had its heyday in the 2004, 2005, 2006 boom, right? Tons of houses were built all over the valley. I'll have to get some numbers, some statistics, so you can see how much was actually built during that time. But it was a lot. A lot of our inventory in the West Valley, in the Southeast Valley, in the North Valley, those areas were really built up then. A lot of construction. Well, those houses are now aging 20 years. 20 years is when work starts to get done. So if you're underwriting a deal, you're underwriting something to purchase, make sure, like how we used to underwrite deals, we weren't really factoring in, when we're looking at these, call them newer construction or something built in the last 10 years, we weren't really looking at what's going to fail, expecting that we'd need to pay that in the next 1 to 2 years. But now it's like, okay, AC units, roofs, real solid capital expenditures. So your CapEx might be a little bit higher, especially on what you're going to be doing to dump it in there to begin with. So maybe factor, what your purchase price is going to be, and add for that additional right now, right out of the gates, get the work done, and then you're back to square one. Cool. I hope this is helpful. Look forward to providing as much content and more information as we can. Hey, these videos, they help us in just keeping us on top of things. I mean, me having to come up with content every week has been sometimes challenging, especially with where we're at with the team model right now, with so many things coming up. Like, sometimes I'm like, all right, what am I going to share? What am I not? What should I share? What can't I share? Lots of interesting things happen in this business. Most of it good, of course, but again, this is property management, so lots of challenges, lots of fun. Cool. Appreciate you. Thanks for watching.